Spot here, back on Behind the Gloves with another interview. I'm joined by the lovely Heather Hardy, all the way from the Big Apple, New York City. Heather, first of all, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. And yourself?
Not too bad. Kind of getting to that stage now where it's just driving me insane, to be honest with you.
All of us, right? All of us.
I've tried everything. I've tried to learn something new. I've tried to be active, but it's just getting to that crash point. I hadn't reached it until now. I'm just crashing big time.
Where are you?
So I'm from Sheffield, England. So it's a bit boring here. Even though like we can't go out, it's still boring around here.
Yeah.
But I know you're pretty much in the center of it all. New York's one of the worst affected places on the whole planet. What's it looking like right now out there? What's going on?
It's crazy. You know, I live in a neighborhood in Brooklyn, just outside Manhattan, where it's always like super touristy, very busy, lines. You can't get in the stores, and there are certain blocks here we call the Instagram blocks that all the tourists come and line up to take selfies. You can't get cars to the street. So just to see everything so empty and so quiet, and so everyone walking around with a mask on, being super careful not to go near each other. I mean, it's like a movie.
It is. It's like the apocalypse almost. It's crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
What's sort of the regulations now? Have they changed anything? Are you still required to wear a mask everywhere you go? Or?
You have to wear a mask outdoors. You're not allowed in stores if you have a mask. You have to socially distance if you're outdoors. Police are fining people $1,000 if you're too close, or
$1,000.
$1,000. Yeah. So you can get in a lot of trouble. Me and all my girlfriends just finally met for a birthday in the park, and we all kind of sat, 6 feet apart on different rocks, and we were all drinking in the park, and the cops were like, "We don't care about the alcohol. Just stay away."
Wow. Well, at least they're making it clear over there. For us, I'm a bit confused what's going on, because one minute they're like, you can go out and have unlimited amounts of exercise, whatever that means. I don't know what that means. But yeah, it seems a lot more straightforward over in the States for you guys. They're just saying flat out, this is what you have to do.
Yeah, you're not allowed out.
As a fighter, I've been speaking to plenty of fighters. Obviously, everyone's got their different situation. The top tier fighters, the ones that are sort of guaranteed to be secure, have their way around it for as long as they can. But even with you, with how popular you are, it's still not. So there's no security in boxing. And I just want to ask how are you sort of dealing with that?
It was really challenging in the beginning to try to wrap my mind around it. I think that for all fighters right now, any fighter who was not, boxing stopped in March, and you had fighters who were contracted to fight in March, April, May, even into June, where these fights were canceled and postponed and put on the shelf. So in the back of my head, I kind of told myself, like, even when boxing goes back, I can't expect to be able to get right back in the ring, because there are so many fighters who are owed fights that had to be backed out of their contract. So, I mean, in my head, I'm not even operating thinking like, okay, we're going to open in August, I'll fight in September. I don't know when I'm going to fight again, if I'm going to fight again, what's going to happen. I had to really get creative and figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life if a fight doesn't come until February or March of next year.
Wow. So it is pretty much like that. You have literally no idea when things could be rocking again. And I guess with like promotional companies as well, it's not as if they'll put, you don't know what their priority is. Obviously, they've got their bunch of prospects and whatever that they probably want to put forward. So it's a difficult situation. When was the last time you fought? Was in September, was it? Or did you fight?
Yeah, it was September last year.
So you've been waiting a long time already. Were you due a fight anytime soon, or what was?
We were in talks for me to go for the WBC 126-pound world title. And when I say in talks, like everything was finalized, but we were waiting for a venue to put the show on. So it was like, okay, it'll be, hopefully in February. And then it was like March. And then it was like April. And then it was like, it might be May. And then everything shut down, So I was kind of just on deck waiting for my fight date. Because that never happened. I mean, you can't hold your breath for it. Nobody knows what's gonna go on.
Exactly. This might sound like a bit of a stupid question, but I feel a certain way about this. And just because you said how your fight kept on getting moved, I know it's your source of income, but I don't miss boxing as much because the bullshit that was already included in it. Whereas, so I mean, like it's just like we're waiting for the next fight day. We're just waiting and waiting and waiting. So there's a part of you, obviously you missed the training, but surely it's almost like a letdown of, all right, no more bullshit, no more politics for a while.
That's not a stupid question. It's a good question. I mean, I'll be honest, as a fighter, I never really look forward to fights. I think because I'm so embedded in the politics of boxing that that watching other people fight, where you already kind of know what's gonna happen for like 98% of bouts, you know what's gonna happen. You know, like watching the fights is not so exciting. As far as the women fighting, because our bouts are so much more evenly matched, because we're getting like champions against champions, because we have no choice, because we have to make people want to watch us, you know, those matchups I'm really sad we aren't going to see happen, ones that were like super exciting and coming to the forefront. So I hope they all materialize once this goes back.
Hopefully so, hopefully so. As soon as we're talking about, so stick on the women's boxing side of stuff. Eddie Hearn is speaking about having fights in his back garden, which I'm kind of excited to see how that unravels. One of the fights they're talking about having there is someone you know pretty well, actually, Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor. That was meant to be in Manchester in April, but they're planning to have that at the back garden. You've obviously shared, you know, the rounds with Serrano. Obviously, that being your last fight, which was a brilliant fight as well. First of all, how do you rate both of them on a scale? Who do you think sort of the more experienced, better boxer, would you say? And how do you see that fight playing out?
Well, I think it's as someone who lost to Amanda, I think it's kind of arrogant of me to say who's better or who's worse, right? Like you always see the person that lost to someone try to get out here and say, well, they do this and they don't do that and they don't, and then that's kind of like, you know, makes me look bad, because it's like, bitch, I beat you. But I think the general consensus, boxing public, right? Amanda's got a puncher's chance every minute of every second of every round. All she's got to do is land a good one. She's the Deontay Wilder of women's boxing. Like, you can have people in there who box the shit out of them, but when you got that kind of natural God-given power, I mean, you know, and Katie really showed in her last fight against Delphine that it's easy to rope her into a fight. As technically sound as she is, you can get her to dig deep and want to fight with you, even though she should be smart in box. So
that could suit you. Your style's, you know, a bit of a brawl. You like to have a bit of a go in the middle of the ring. Who knows?
I do, and that was kind of my downfall in the last fight. When I was boxing and moving and being smart, I had an easy night. It was when I tried to exchange with her, and I don't have that natural God-given talent, you know. And neither does Katie. No one can argue that. Katie doesn't have one punch power. She's got stoppage power because of the overwhelming punches and the technical ability. So, you know, I would only say that Katie's got to be really smart in there. You got to be smart from bell to bell. I wasn't smart. I didn't win the fight. But I think that I showed that it is possible to box her, that it is possible to use movement, head movement, footwork to make distance between the rounds. And Katie is far more technical than I could ever dream to be as an Olympic gold medalist and boxing for as many years as she is. So if she's smart, she could have an easy night, I think.
Another person from over on this side of the world, I don't know if you've heard much about her, but she is a world champion now. Terry Harper, have you heard the name?
Yeah, I like that kid. She's a good kid. She works hard. She deserves everything she got.
Well, I was speaking to her after her last fight, and I said, what would be sort of your dream scenario? What do you want to do? And she said she wants to fight in America. She wants to, you know, lay her grounds out in America. I was like, so is there anyone specific? You know, who'd you look at over in America? She mentioned your name. She goes, Heather Hardy would be amazing in New York. So I was like, okay. So the next time I get a chance to speak to Heather, I'm going to ask if she'd be interested in that fight. What do you make of that situation?
Let me tell you something that my mom told me when I was young, that my coaches teach me in boxing. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Okay? That's my bottom line. I'm 38 years old. And I'm not about doing no world title fights for $10,000, $15,000 anymore. And unfortunately for Terry, for a lot of really, really good prospects who are coming up, the promoters aren't looking to invest money in them. They want to build their name. They want to get them exposure. So when they look for opponents, like when Eddie looks for an opponent for Terry, he's offering shit money. He's offering nothing. Like, I'm not doing a world title fight with a 28-year-old on the come up with the whole world in her direction for 12 grand. You can forget it. So as much as I adore the kid and as much as I want to put on fights for women's boxing, there has to be someone who says, no, that's not enough money for me. I deserve more money than that. We all deserve more money from that. And I have too much skin in the game for me to think that I would accept anything less than I already know I deserve.
Do you feel somewhat disrespected when numbers like that are thrown at you, especially taking in the fact that you are really one of the pioneers of the sport? I mean, seriously, like if you're talking about someone who's built and kept a name for women's boxing, one of the first names that comes to my mind is you. So do you ever feel like sort of?
I was when I am thoroughly insulted at numbers like that. Like, you shouldn't even be talking to me for less than 6 figures, and you're gonna offer me 15, 17, maybe we'll get it up to 18 grand. You know, to me, that's thoroughly insulting. Why does, like, think about it, right? Like, I'm a smart person. I always, like, really surprise people with that I have, like, smarts. You know, I'm a college graduate, I'm educated, I was in business for a long time. And the bottom line is this, like, these young girls, they want people like me to fight them because I have a big following. I'm popular. Everyone knows my name. And what better look than for the young up and coming to beat the old lady who everyone loves, right? And I'm like, I understand that that's really the politics of all boxing matches. You know, not to say that I wouldn't beat the living shit out of her, but that's the politics of the boxing. To me, if you're not going to pay me what I know I deserve, then I don't even want to have the conversation with you. And I'm sure that Matchroom and anybody else, Top Rank, whoever else wants to you know, promote their girls, will find someone who'll do the fight, but that someone's just not going to be me. Not for no money. I proved in my career that I'm not scared of nobody. I'll fight anybody if the money's right. So
there you go. If Eddie's watching this, you heard what it takes. All right, then.
He already knows I got a big mouth.
I'm sure you've had a few words with him. You need to drill those words into him a few more times. But so what you said earlier in the interview sort of intrigued me. You're looking at other routes just in case, you know, boxing doesn't fall through. You know, you still got your maybe MMA. Who knows? But there's different things you're looking at. What you're looking at? What are you looking to get into? Where can we see Heather Hardy outside of boxing?
Well, outside of boxing, you know, I have my contract with Bellator. There was some talks of maybe that happening again, getting in the cage. I had some talks with some bare knuckle boxing to maybe fight their champion over there.
And why bare knuckle? Please explain. Look, I love the sport of boxing. I love sparring myself. I like getting my head kicked in every now and then. But why bare knuckle? Why?
Because I forgot more about boxing than them girls will ever know. You understand? Good. To me, I'd rather get into bare knuckle boxing than MMA. These MMA girls, let me explain something to you. Hold on, I gotta shut my oven off. This is what happens when we do this. Okay. So the MMA girls, them girls are smart. You know, like all these MMA girls, every single one of them, very, very smart, intelligent. It's like, you know, they go to all these different, you know, trainings and stuff. Us boxing girls, we from the street. We from the street. We just like to fight and made our way into these. Not to say we're not smart, you know, we're all smart.
Well, there's two different types of smart though. You've got the boxing skill and ability, but then they have the focuses of the jiu-jitsu and this and that and all the different arsenal that they carry. Not to say that, but they've been doing it for a way longer time probably.
But like, I will go into a cage and I just want to beat the shit out of someone, and these girls is all thinking like, do this, you know, we're in a boxing ring, we're just like, bitch, come on. So I always kind of felt a type of way about bare knuckle boxing. I'd love to try it because I know I'd be really, really good at it. Look at my knuckles. But
I wouldn't mess with you. I'll leave. I wouldn't bother. Yeah. But bare knuckle, you know what? But thinking about it, you just reminded me. Talking about bare knuckle boxing, another Brooklyn native, Mike Tyson, talking about this and that. What's your take on it? Bare knuckle boxing, Mike Tyson, Shannon Briggs. If that, I don't think it will happen, but as a person in boxing, how did you react to that?
I mean, you watch Mike Tyson crack the pads and it sparks something different inside a fighter's heart, like, damn, he about to kill somebody. Who's catching them? And the thing too about fighters is, for the most part, Mike Tyson got no need to return. If he's gonna return, he wants to. That's a dangerous man. Somebody's doing it just because he wants to.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't see it exactly. He's 53 years old. He's got his podcast successful. He's got all of the ventures that he can go into. When I heard him wanting to put gloves on again, I was like, oh shit. Like,
oh shit, someone's gonna get hurt.
Something switched, because you know what it is with his mentality. I feel like he's had to, and you would know this from a fighter. It's hard to switch off the I want to fight, I want to box, I want to just keep training type of mentality. But Mike Tyson, it's almost another level of that, because that's all he knew. That's literally all he knew, and his struggles that he had. So when I heard the news, I was like, oh shit, the switch has just gone back. I didn't think it would, but it's gone back. But yeah, let's. I don't know. I hope I don't see him, because I don't want to see him get hurt, because there's a big chance of that happening. But yeah, anyway, I appreciate all the time that you've given me tonight. Any sort of final messages to the fans watching?
First, I want to say I'm sorry I was late. I forgot what time it was, and I was cooking dinner. I was like, oh shit, the interview. So I just want to apologize to you. Just tell the fans, thank you so much for always supporting me, rooting for me, cheering on the old lady. Team Heat, we love you guys.
Hey Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and do so by clicking this icon right here and hit the bell button so you can get notified every time we upload a new video. And we also have a free app available on iTunes and Google Play, so make sure you go and download that. Bye Fight fans.